Hola to everybody and welcome to another Little Waves on Cryptos. Today it is Friday again. It's this time of the week that we're going to analyze a couple of BTC and a couple of altcoins. In this analysis today, I'm going to have a quick look as always on BTC, on Luna, because it's like a missing case. Whether there is a vote or for anything else, it's always coming up that Luna is the winner for the QIC community, of course, and my YouTube community also. I've posted a vote there in the community a few days back, and we have voted for FTM. So we're going to have a quick look at BTC, Luna, as well as FTM. Don't forget that more of these videos can be done for you if you support. So make sure you click this like button, subscription, leave your comments, and also ask your questions. I try to get back as soon as I can. Before we go into the charts, don't forget, none of this is financial investment. It's purely educational and to help you, of course, understand market dynamics and how our prices are likely to move based on statistical correlations, on historical patterns, etc, etc, etc. So let's jump into the charts with BTC first, and then we're going to jump onto Luna and FTM. Okay, I'm starting with a clean chart, clean slate chart today. Just want to mention a few things here. Just remember, I am still bullish in the longer term. Okay, I don't think wave 4 is done yet, just for the record. This is my 3. This is a potential scenario is that we're looking for an ABC running flat, but it has to go a little bit lower down and then continue higher for 5 legs that are going to end this move to the upside. We need to get to at least 70% to consider this as a decent truncation, which means we need to go down to around 37, 35 for the running flat to be valid. Now, given the state of the particular market we are looking, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we're looking at 1, 2, 3, and 4 internally, it will be no surprise. It's still valid if we can get down there. However, the chances are reducing as we move up. Now, this scenario is still in play, okay, and it is the main scenario as long as we are below over here the 45,647, okay, because that is still keeping this move to the downside progressive if this downside move is not done, because it could be a case that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, okay, and this will be an ABC. And or well, it looks like more of an ABC. We're going to look at the short term, or it might be, you know, correcting even higher, right? And we're going to get a correction over here again for that, with that being either A down here and B, or even 1 or 2 over here, because the alternative of the running flat would be the expanding flat variation, which means when we finish 5 ways down here, we'll do a correction, then we'll continue lower down, and that of course is going to take us definitely lower than 29k. So these are the 2 scenarios, of course, that are in play, and the third one would be that we are probably going to see something similar, but in this case that would be a W, X, and Y, which means again that we're going to see probably an A, B, and C here. Okay, that will probably get us very close to the previous lows. Not necessarily that it cannot break, it can, but very likely to stop around the previous levels and then continue to the upside. Now, we've also talked about these potentially being W, X, and Y, which means that we can get a W, X, and Y here. And that would be a wave A of a triangle, complex wave A. They're not usually, but, and then we'll get something like this. Okay, that would be a double X and Y. We will move higher up. The other scenario would be that we are already on a triangle pattern, although I'm not such a friend on this, because we've got clear moves that indicate that this is not, they're not corrective, at least this one. This one could also be the case, and this is what brings him to the alternative, which means the fifth wave is done up here, and we are going to continue lower. This is 1, 2, we get 3, 4, and 5. And the truth is that we will never know until we get back up. You know why? Because this is exactly the same count we need to the downside for an expanded flat variation. So until we go down and we correct up, over here is where we might get the first signs whether this is the case or not. Because if we have 5 waves up here, it can mean that we are done, or it will mean that this is 1, we're gonna get 2, and then 3, 4, 5. Which, by the way, brings me to this alternative, that this is wave 1 and this is wave 2. That's the only way that this can be a W, X, and Y, okay, and continue higher, or W, X, and Y only in a triangle pattern, either in a C or in an A wave. Now, I started with running flat because it's still in play, okay, but if the running flat doesn't play out, then we're looking for potential correction to the upside, right? Which means this is more likely to turn into an expanded variation of this flat, okay? So let me just switch to the count here because I've got some labeling done. It will be easier for us to follow. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then potential to the downside in wave 5. Now you will see that I have not yet put this down as the 5th wave, but like the third is done, and we'll continue the 4th and the 5th. Why have I done this? The first reason, and this is how Elliott waves should be approached, the first reason is we have not yet gone all the way up to wave 1 to receive a rejection or to break through it, which means we'll still remain progressive to the downside. And looking at the structure as well, that is most likely to be a 3, 4, and 5 rather than anything else. That doesn't mean we're going to move lower, okay? It means that after the 42 bounce as well, which I'm calling all these levels, guys, in my group. It means that we might get ABC over here, and we might get wave 4 being over here. Okay, something like this, and then continue lower down. But the longer this takes to complete, the less the chances are going to be that we are indeed expecting for one more leg down, because we start correcting up to around the 52K. Okay, because that's the idea. Once we do the low, up below that low, then a potential move all the way up to wave 4 can be expected. Now, it's not ideal that we see this sort of correction here and this bigger correction over here in wave 4, but it is what it is. We're still within limits, and the truth is that don't expect to see pretty stuff in cryptos. So that's one of the ideas here that we have. We're expecting one wave more down, which means we will get something like this, and then up to around 52, who knows. The other one would be that we finished, we're gonna get something like this, and then go down and then go up. Okay, we're talking short term now. And the other, of course, scenario is that 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is done, and this is going to be something like 1, 2, and then we get 3, 4, and 5 for A, then we get B and C. And only when we get C and we see that this wave C is extended or not extended, then this is where we're going to understand whether this is a reversal to the upside or just a simple correction. Now, we always start with ABC when we see corrections and expect corrections, okay? And we end up changing that to a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 when wave C extends more than at least 100%, at least, okay? So this is what I'm looking on BTC. Now let's go on Luna. Hold on, it's not here, this one. Okay, and you well know that this is a very debatable, I mean, and you're not going to see many analysts actually going into Luna because they're scared for some reason or something. It's not an easy chart, and it hasn't been easy for me either, obviously, because it just doesn't make sense. The reality is up to here, or even up to here, it makes perfect sense, and it's a very nice pattern. Okay, you're looking at a move to the upside, impulsive to the upside from the beginning, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Very nice deep correction in wave 2, very nice sharp correction in wave 4, and you look for an extended fifth. Okay, so the problem here is here. Okay, so last time we were talking, you know, about this being this is actually a variation of an ascending triangle, which many analysts, Elliott wave analysts as well, they're not aware of, or they don't know of, because it's not in the books. So, but there is many books, it's not just one book. So this is a variation of it. It's still debatable anyway. And I will tell you why it is debatable, because I did today some research on whether, debatable on whether it is valid, right? Not whether it exists or not. I looked at different brokers, okay? And you will see in some cases, these price action here is making a lower low than this one. Okay, and in this case that I'm looking on Binance, it's not the case. This low is deeper than this low, so my wave 4 has to be here, and this cannot be a triangle over here because the wave E cannot be below wave C. That is the problem we have here. Okay, now, however, in other brokers, that is below, which means wave 4 can indeed be here, and that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But for now, because it's like a mixed case, I will leave this count as it is. Unfortunately or unfortunately, we will only know once the pattern completes what this is, and it still might be debatable. Okay, so I'm going to leave it as it is because none of the other counts make sense. I mean, there was the one alternative count, and I will show you later. But over here, we do see that playing out fairly nicely, to be fair. Expecting the fifth wave in, okay, higher up, and especially after doing this corrective move to the downside that found support exactly at the base channel connecting waves 2 and wave 4. Okay, now if you recall, I talked about an expanded flat over an expanded diagonal for over here, and this is exactly what we currently see. I'll be honest, I don't like the structure, neither these or these, but it's the only one that to me makes sense to my experience and many charts I have seen and charted. So over here it looks like wave 1 and 2 and 3, and currently 4 is in the making, or maybe it ended and we're going up for 5. This to me is going to be wave A, then very likely to see a correction in wave B, and then to see another 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 leg to take us up in wave C. That wave C can be a motive wave, so either an impulse or an ending diagonal. Okay, that means that we can do very likely to go above 104, obviously, but it's not going to be, I mean, it can go all the way up and meet this trend line, but I doubt this is going to be the case. Technically speaking, above 104, the move is done. Okay, technically speaking. Now, the other scenario is that we're going to have a very extended wave 5, which, by the way, is a usual case in cryptos. Okay, and instead of this being an ending diagonal in wave 5, it's going to be an ending diagonal in wave 1. And instead, we're going to get something like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That, of course, is going to have crazy bullish implications, because to be an extended wave right at where we are at the top, starting with a leading diagonal. Okay, not also forget that the other scenario I was looking, the alternative, actually let me just give you a few levels here first. If we take 1 and 2, you see we do just less than 100%, okay, of wave 3. And if we take then 2 and 3 and 4, which currently is in, and we assume this is done, we can also expect prices to go to around actually it would be around 90%, so maybe around 115 or so, okay, 120 or so for this pattern to complete. But it will also depend on where exactly my wave A finishes, okay? Because if my wave finishes, all right, let's say 90, and then we do a double bottom correction here in wave B, supposedly, that could probably take us around 110, okay? Depending on the, I said, what finish, A finishes or wave B finishes as well, right? And this is how I would actually, measure this, and we're trying to see if there is any clusters between prices, between Fibonacci's. The other scenario I was looking, if I'm not mistaken, it would be something like our wave 4 is done down here, and it would be a case where this is the leading diagonal. Okay, that is the alternative, by the way. This is the leading diagonal here, and you get something like this, right? So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We ended with a throw over, and this now is a correction. We've got 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 and 5. Do we see interaction here? Yes, we see. So maybe it would probably be a case where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 continue lower, okay? Or ABC, which is W, X, and Y. And then once we do a low again, here we continue higher, okay? These pretty much will be for me a case, guys, where we are in a bear market, okay? Because to go all the way down to like 37, it would mean that the cycle is very likely in, okay? And would, of course, support also the case of this being an actual ending diagonal that finished. Okay, hold on. Because I am missing the line here. What I don't like about this is, well, you get something like this. I mean, you could, hold on. We could say, just to ensure that it's not too extended, you could say this is the actual diagonal, right? But then in that case, it doesn't look such a diagonal, but it's what it is. And why this? Because it makes a bit more sense between waves 1 and 3. Otherwise, that all would be wave 1, or otherwise, my wave, that would be something like A, B, and C, but you cannot see an a 5-wave move here. It's an ABC. So, the idea of having wave 1 here, and then that means that this is something like of a flat, but you cannot get a flat in a diagonal. So in a sense, it would be a flat only if this is 1 and 2, and this is my 3 and this is my 4, because there is no interaction here. You see, no interaction between waves 1 and 4, and then that would be the 5th one, which means again we are finished with a very big wave 2 versus the wave 4, which again doesn't just look right, and that's why it's the alternative. Now the main doesn't look right as well, but it's the only one that looks right to me based on what we see, because the rest of the stuff are just a bit more more mental. Okay, so that's all for Luna as well, guys. I will be paying attention, by the way, in the short term to see if we get a decent break above 80. As long as we're below the 50 Fibonacci, this is bearish sentiment. Above it is bullish sentiment. Now over here, we do really look like we've done an ABC, right? And this is like 1, 2, and 3, or ABC, which means we'll continue to 4 and 5 to get A or 1, and then 2 or B, and then continue up for 3, 4, 5 or C, or just take you a little bit lower, ABC, 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 and move down, or ABC and we'll move down. Okay, all the scenarios are there, but we need to pay attention to 80 right now. This is the level for the short term. And FTM, let's see, where do I even have it? FTM has an interesting count, and I wouldn't say it's a hard one either. Not as complicated as Luna, which seems to be the hardest one and the most complicated. Hello, where is FTM? That's what happens when you have a big list and going. Maybe someone saw it, but unfortunately you cannot tell me. There we go. So on the 8 hours we are fine. So 1 and 2, wave 3 here clear with the volumes. We just follow the volumes, guys. A lot of people think price is leading everything. The reality is price is not leading everything. Volumes lead the price. Volumes move price. So volumes is everything, not price. Anyway, price tells us what volumes is doing. 1, 2, 3 with volumes, correction and 4, you know, and then the fifth one up. Again, impulse in third, more volumes in the fourth, and we'll go now like this, and we're meeting again some sort of big volumes over here, which indicate there is some bearish strength here, which another likely move to the upside with lower volumes, indicating that there is going to be potentially another leg up, and then after that we'll see increasing volumes again, which means there's going to be resistance at the top for a potential move to the downside. So my main count is that we have finished primary one at 350. We have corrected an ABC manner here, as is quite obvious to see as an ABC, and right now we have done another A wave to the upside and a correction in wave B, assuming wave B is in. We do assume that, but I'll be honest, I think it's not in yet, but we assume it because we don't have a break below the level, we don't have a break above that level, but we moved all the way up. So we can get 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for C, and then we get 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This is going to be a flat, and it can get, actually, depending on how much higher it's going to go, and it looks like it's going to break that previous high, by the way, and it very likely to be a regular flat, is either going to give us a running variation or an expanded variation. And I would think it would be more of the expanding variation, but if that would be the case, then it means that a few more weeks of price action, maybe a few months, and then we dive very lower down, much lower. Usually, and I don't want to scare you, but usually I'm just telling you the guidelines, right? This is not, these videos are not done to tell you, you know, to scare you off or to make you happy, okay? These videos are done to educate you. Now, usually that wave 2 should correct down here, okay? That's a double bottom, usually. Now, in a case, of course, of crypto stocks and some other markets as well, you're going to have an extended period of impulses to the upside. So in cases like this, you know, these corrections are much lower, much shallower. So maybe it's going to stop around here. Okay, in that case, it could be a regular flat or a running flat. But to me, it looks like more of a flat right now, with the short-term price action suggesting that the low is in. But I don't think the low is in, because I don't see this as the low being in. I see this more of, because we did get increasing volumes here, I see this more of a thing where probably we'll get something like, you know, maybe even a triangle here, okay, in wave B, and then we're going to see C and then move lower down. So in the very short term, I'm expecting to see a bit more clear signs on whether this can move higher or not, because it can stay here and then move higher, or it can go straight higher. So short term and perhaps short to medium term, okay, for wave B. Once we get there and we can get up to, hold on, 531 and still be valid. No, that's not the case. Hold on, I need to take this off. We can go up to 436 and still be valid, okay? So that would be one level. I will just be putting a line over here. That can still be a wave B, okay? Which means we can move all the way up there, and judging by the depth of wave A, yeah, and assuming wave B is in, that comes, I mean, the 1272 actually comes exactly around 4, right? Which is a very good level. Now, if my wave B is not done and we're just going to do a triangle, then look, the 61.8 would be a perfect confluence, because ideally we'll get something like A, B, C, D, E, and we'll be ending around that level, right? Which is here. So that could be the case. It might turn out being a flat, a W, X, and Y, or anything else, or maybe it finished, or maybe my wave C is done even, okay? Because the truth is, we only want 90% correction, and that a bit off, maybe one more leg up to 325 and we'll be done. The 90% gives us the regular flat. So, you know, short term or maybe short medium, we'll see how that works out. So that's gonna be all for now, guys. Thank you very much for watching once again, and don't forget, you can find more of these analyses in my Telegram group and daily updates that really keep you ahead of the game. So take care and trade safe.